Welcome back to Insights at DDLynn Designs, a unique twist in the ancient art of wire. This is DDLynn, and I thought I'd show you today how quickly you can make a go-to fast gift, or you just want a pair of earrings quickly. I mean, they're just so simple. And I was just playing around with the wire because I've been making a lot of different spiral bracelets, necklaces, you name it, spiral rings, that kind of thing. But this is an 18 gauge wire, and just so you can see the difference, that's 16. Isn't that amazing? The difference? It's just crazy, huh? So anyways, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell so you know when my tutorials are coming out next. But these are so easy, y'all, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So what you need to do is you need to cut yourself 2 pieces of 18 gauge wire, and you will fold them in half, and we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to just show you what you're going to be using to fold them in half. This is going to be very quick because there's just not much involved in it, but it's so much fun. So you're going to fold them in half. So get 2 pieces, 8 inches of wire, 18 gauge. Now, if you're going to be using 20 gauge, you definitely need to lock in the middle. Even though, if you look closely, I have hammered the spirals and I have hammered where we're anchoring the ear hook off of. So these are 18, they're good and strong, but still, they could have a tendency to come apart. So I would recommend sealing them off. Secondly, I'm always going to give you inspiration. You can put any bead on here you want. You can attach a bead and make them longer. You can put in links. You could put a bead in between the little bail. You could do half round wire. It's really whatever your vision is, okay? So once you've bent your 18 gauge wire in half, and let me tell you, I use the number 3 on my 6-step bail making plier. And all I did was bend the wire in half. You're going to take the wires and lay them down on your board, and you want to mark from the top of the loop down. So here's the top of the loop. This is a 1-inch square, okay? So the top of the loop is fitting inside the 1-inch square, and you want to mark it down at the 1-inch mark. Then you want to come up a 1/2 inch, okay? And you want to do that on both wires. Now all we're going to do is make our spiral. So I'm going to make a small hole, and I'm going to grab the tip of that, and I'm going to pinch on it, and then I'm going to roll it. And I'm rolling off the back of it. As I come into the rotation of the curl on the wire, I like to turn my work around, and then I'm going to grab right behind the tip. And I'm going to roll the wire so it's a push-push. So I'm going to roll the wire in as I'm anchoring it in, and I'm just going to keep rolling it on itself. Then I'm going to adjust my plier, come back out of it, not outside of the loop, meaning just backing out of it. And as I'm going, I'm going to keep wrapping around. And that's going to make a really good, clean circle in there. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm smashing that tip down to make it very narrow. Kind of like a point. And then I'm going to roll it till I get about 3/4 of a curl. Because ergonomically, our wrist will only turn in so much. Let me back out of this so you can see that. So I'm going to come back in with my plier, and right behind the tip, I'm going to keep turning my wrist as I'm rolling that tip inside. So I've got that on both sides. Then I'm going to come in with my flat nose. You can use chain nose, whatever you're comfortable with. I don't use chain nose very much, so it's just personal preference. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start rolling. And if you've never done a spiral, if you watch my wrist, I am literally anchoring this wire here as I'm pushing my wrists together. So I'm just going to keep rolling until I come up to this mark. And we're going to do the same thing on the other one. So I'm right at my mark. I'm going to back down a little bit. That was a little high for me. So we have this. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So if you notice how I'm guiding the wire, and then I'm coming down here where the inside loop is meeting the outside curve, I'm always going to give you really good details, tips, tricks, and techniques, because this will really help accelerate your journey in this ancient art of wire. So right here, where it's completely closed, I'm just rolling. And this wire is resting against my finger. And I'm just going to roll up. And then I'm going to pull them together here in a minute. So there's our first one. I just want to make sure that they're even. This one's a little higher, so instead of rolling out of it, I'll just roll this one up. Now, if you want a longer base here, meaning you want more of this shape and you want it longer, because this works out to be just a little over 1¼ inches in length, but it's got nice width to it. It's not too big and it's not too small. So I'm looking at those look great. Then all I'm going to do, and it's the same thing, you guys, so I'm not even going to do the second one. I'm going to get my hammering block. You can decide on which side you're back and which side you're front. It doesn't really matter because it's the same exact thing. And I'm going to hold very firmly, and I'm tapping around and flaring out that outside wire. I don't want this to come apart. Then you can just take your plier. There's just a little bit of gap. Just squeeze them in. Just flattening that out again. Just squeezing it in. So now all you're going to do is you're going to take, so this is my front because I hammered on the back. You're going to take your buffing block and you're going to buff and just clean up and shine up your wire beautifully. I'm telling you, these are like 10-minute earrings. If I wasn't doing a tutorial or 15 minutes, if you already have your ear hooks made, I would say 15 minutes. Okay, so all you're going to do now is you're going to squeeze them together. And you're going to cross over as you're doing it, and you're going to let them come to center, just like that. So you should have that. Then you're just going to keep separating them. So I'm going to take my fingernails up here and I'm going to spread them apart until they meet. Now, if one's higher up than the other, that's okay. How we make that correction is we open them up and we gently rock them back and forth until they line up. Now you can leave it like this. This earring, 18 gauge, should hold up pretty good, but then you can add. You can always embellish. And so that's what I did on here. I knew that they would be fine without the center wire, but they're very pretty on the back too. I curled and curved the wire up. So if you wanted to wear them in this direction, you've got that more decorative look than just the single wire. It's just up to you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to open this up a little bit, simply by pressing down inside of here with my plier. And I think I'm going to use my needle nose. I just want to, for me, I wanted it to open a little bit more. Do you notice how I spread that out? I just spread it out. Then I'll just hold here, and I'll open these up a little bit more, because we're going to bring them together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hammer the bail. You could make a matching necklace. Now I noticed when I was spreading these out, my wire got a curve to it, which is fine. It's pretty. So you could curve this other side, or you just come in with your plier. Here's another technique, and you straighten that wire out. And then if you want them to be curved in here, you should curve them before you hammer, because once you've hammered, you've hardened the wire. And we're almost done. Isn't that cute? And then the next thing you want to do is cut. Oh, you don't really need this length. This is just scrap wire. And on this one, I'm going to use a 20 gauge round. You could also use a twisted wire. You could weave in between these. It's really up to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this down on my piece here. And I'm going to mark moving my camera here. So you see where the opening is in the swirl, so that little inside open loop. I'm going to mark to the inside of it, but to the left instead of dead center. And then I'm going to bend the wire straight down into a 90 on the inside of that mark. So I'm going to grab right here, that's the inside, and I'm going to bend it straight down. So you should have this. Then before I bend the other side, I'm just going to put it through the little hole there and see where my other mark is. And by the time I bend on the inside of that mark, it will slide perfectly down through that hole and really have a nice rest against the wire. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to come on the inside of it, and I'm going to bend. And this time I'm going to let my wires kind of cross in a little bit. I don't need this length here. Like I said, this was just scrap wire. This is going to be my pendant to the earring, and then what I'm going to do is just add more to it. So I'm just going to slip these through the two holes. So you have this. Then I'm going to turn it over on the back, and I'm going to swing one wire completely over. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to get my flat nose, and I'm going to press that wire down, which is going to keep these two flush and separated equally. And then with this one, I'm just going to simply push it over because it's a 20 gauge. So I'm just pushing that wire over at the base. So you should have this. This can be your front or your back. Now you can really decorate from here, everyone. You can use a longer piece of wire and bring this wire around and make a beautiful swirl or spiral in the middle. You can bring this one down and make a spiral. It's really up to you. So I'm just going to come around the front. It's nice and tight. And then to create this look to where, and I'm going to buff those out. These are going to get oxidized, and then they're going to go in my tumbler. And that's going to smooth out, a micron edge. So it's going to make it so soft and buffed. But to create that little bend, you want to do that by swinging your wire around the corner. So I'm going to hold firmly in the middle, and I'm just going to follow. So I'm following this right here. Just going to follow it. And I'm just giving it just enough bend so that when I come in with my clippers, I'm going to cut. Let me see if I can do this in a position where you can see it better. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's going to matter. I'm going to cut right here. So it just has a nice turn down in the end. Instead of being straight and flush and cut off, just makes it look prettier to me. And the same thing over here. Just going to bend that wire around, just curving it around this wire here. Then I'm just going to get my cutters and right where it's meeting the wire. And you don't have to weave it or tie it down. You can if you want. I'm just pressing mine down. You can also take your hammer and hammer that. So here is the same thing, our beautiful little earring. So I'm going to show you really quick. So here's the back versus the front, or this could be your front. I like the wires on the back like that, so I think they're equally pretty. And then, I mean, obviously I'm going to clean this up really good, but you want to make sure that you buff out everything really nice. And that's it, but I'll show you quickly how to make an ear hook if you've never made one. And they're really easy. This one I'm going to make as a decorative ear hook. So I am going to cut myself 3 inches of wire, and this is going to make me 2 ear hooks. Actually, that's 4. Let's do 4. Sorry, guys. So I've got my 4 inches of wire here, just a little shy of. I'm going to cut in the middle. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little loop. Okay, so these are going to be decorative. Instead of just the basic loop for an ear hook, now I'm going to come in with this small one on the back of the loop. So the loop is facing to my right, and I'm going to bring it all the way around that little loop, and I'm going to curve it up. So you've got this decorative with this really pretty little loop up there, and this is where you're going to hang it right in this opening here, and then we're going to close it off. So let's do that again. So I'm going to make a little loop. I'm going to take my plier out. I'm using my number 1 on my 6-step bell making pliers. The loop is facing towards me, towards my body, and I'm just going to swing that wire around and up. So you have 2 matching earrings, and this wire probably could have been a little bit longer, so I would cut 4.5 inches. I'm going to have to make a smaller ear hook. I tend to like, it's just personal preference, you guys, I tend to like a long tail on my ear hooks. So anyways, that's what you got. So now just to change it up even more, you can leave this loop here, or you can trim it. And I'm taking off about 1 millimeter. So you can leave it like that, or you can trim it. You can also dangle another bead from there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hammering block, and I'm going to hammer the little loop and the loop down here, okay? So I'm just going to come from the side And I'm gently tapping because this is 20 gauge. I never use anything bigger than 20 gauge for an ear hook. And then I'm going to tap here. So you can see the difference of the hammered versus the not. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. All right, now just to change it up again, I'm going to grab this little 3/4 loop and I'm going to squeeze it in very slowly. Just made this really cute little tiny delicate loop there. And the same thing here. I've got shadows coming in this time of day, you guys. I sure hope this comes out. So you've got these cute little decorative start to your ear hooks. This is your opportunity to get in here now and buff these out real nice. But as I mentioned, I throw everything in my tumbler, sometimes for an hour, everything. And it makes a world of difference on the shine and how clean your jewelry is. Now that's after I spend practically 20 minutes minimum per piece scrubbing them with metal files, stainless steel and brass brushes, and using steel wool and making them perfectly clean. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to very gently close these just a little bit. Don't want to close them off all the way yet because I've got to get them in my earring. I'll close them permanently. Then as before, you need to decide on how big you want your hoop for your ear hook. Okay, so this is the hoop part. And I tend to like to do the number 5 unless someone has really small earrings. Then when I'm doing shows, I can just custom make them a pair really quick. So you want it facing towards you, and you just want to push. These are going to be short. You just want to push that around the back. So it really should have been 4.5 inches of wire to make this kind of decorative design. But there's nothing wrong with this. It'll fit an ear, just a different style. Then I'm kicking out just the smallest part, about 1.5 millimeters, the back. Then I'm going to swing it in a little bit, and I'm going to come in and hammer it. I don't want my ear hook falling apart. Now I do ear hooks like this. I have gals that don't want a long back. They just want it to hang over the ear, or through the ear, I should say. So now all you're going to do, I don't have a bead on this one, I could drop a bead, is just take your earring and drop it. And isn't that cute versus the standard little loop? But because this one had a bead, I didn't decorate the ear hook. But this one, it's just so cute. So you would come in and then with your pliers, you'd squeeze it together. And it's okay if it crosses over, it just makes it more flush. And then just line it up. So we have this darling. Let me see if I can shift my camera. It just, I think, adds more decoration to it. So you just do the same thing with the other one, y'all. I hope that you enjoyed that. Please give me your feedback and comments, and I will get back to you. And it's just, I think, just a really quick, oops, sorry about that, out of frame. Wonderful quick gift. I'll tell you what, you need to make a gift for someone. This is a great way to go out the door in 15 minutes and have yourself a pretty pair of earrings for someone, or just a simple pendant. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this magical ancient art of wire. I wish for you all that you wish for yourselves. Have a magical wire art day. Bye for now.